This is part of this series, and it's going to show the power of priorities. And I believe this is an important one tonight. You ever heard the quote, where our focus goes, our energy flows? Where our focus goes, our energy flows. And we can tell a lot about someone by what they spend their time doing. I hear a lot the line, well, I don't have time to do this, or I don't have time to do that. And I'm guilty of saying it. And sometimes I gotta give myself a reality check and be like, well, hold on one sec. There's 168 hours in 1 week. 7 days, 168 hours. I'll give us all 8 hours for sleeping. Some of us can sleep a little less than that, but I'll just give us all 8 hours of sleep each day. That leaves 112 hours each week. All right, so sometimes when we say that, got to ask ourselves, what are we doing with 112 hours each week? And judging by what you spend your time doing, I can tell what you value and what you prioritize. Right? Maybe for some of us, it's, man, I work 60 hours a week. That's awesome. Right? That means that you value your job. It's a high priority for you. Probably for different reasons for all of us. For some of us, it's the money. I'm suiting up, showing up. I get paid. I get something out of that. That's a great incentive. Right? Maybe for some of us, it's, I'm the manager, I'm the owner, I'm going in here. It's just a sense of accomplishment. Maybe construction workers, it's like, I built that, right? Isn't that the construction worker thing? You drive by every house and be like, I worked on that house. Yeah, I did that business. Right? It's like a sense of accomplishment. So maybe some people say, well, part of my time that I spend a lot of time on during the week is I go to meetings. I hopefully are working the steps. I talk to sober people. That's great. That tells me that you value your sobriety. Right? It means a lot to you. It's a high priority in your life. Probably all of us should have that one. Maybe it's I spend a lot of time with my girlfriend, my boyfriend. What does that tell me? That you value that relationship over all the rest of them. Right? It tells me that's important to you, so that's what you're prioritizing. And finally, I'd love to know how much time we all spend on this thing. Uh-oh. Right? See, there's a very telling function on here. It's called screen time. And if someone's like, man, I'm not really sure what my priorities are, pass me your phone. We'll look at your screen time. We'll know exactly what you value and what you prioritize with that. Right? I want to start it off with the hard truth. Number one, this is just the hard truth of this talk. We always make time for what we value. We always make time for what we value, and we always invest our time into what we consider a high priority. Isn't that true? We always make time for what we value. We always invest our time into what we consider a high priority. Now sometimes it can be in accident. It could be subconsciously, or it could be a subconscious decision. This is what I'm going to spend my time on. But for some of us, we kind of just go on autopilot. You ever been through that season? Or just kind of like existing? You ever seen that movie Click before with Adam Sandler? It's an awesome movie. Me and Bonnie watch it. I cry like every single time that I watch it with her. Right? But it's a great movie, and there's part of that where he gets in a habit. The remote control gets to control his whole entire life. So he can fast forward through different things like getting sick or working or whatever it is, and he just tries to focus on the fun parts of his life. But the problem is the remote control puts him on autopilot, and he's just existing during those times that he's trying to fast forward to. Right? And so sometimes if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I feel like we can just go on autopilot at times, and then before you know it, if we pull up the screen time and it shows you that we spend 6 hours a day on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and games, right? It tells me whether it's subconsciously or consciously, right? That means that we value rest and relaxation, right? A high priority is chilling, maybe we'll say. If the screen time shows me that ESPN, fantasy football, betting apps, that tells me that sports is a high priority to us. And then it starts to do an algorithm sometimes on those apps. You ever seen that on Instagram and YouTube? Right? It goes on, and like when you go to the search bar, it kind of shows you the things that you've been looking at, those same selections. So if we pull that out and I see a bunch of good-looking women on your Instagram and YouTube searches, I know what you be doing. No guys making eye contact with me. It's all right. Those search bars, those YouTube searches, right, they're going to show us what we value and what we prioritize. And so if you're thinking about it and you're like, oh man, guilty here, I'm going to suggest to us that sometimes this stuff is seasonal, right? So maybe we're in a season of getting off base a little bit. Maybe we're in a season of we're dialed in. I can call myself out on this too. If you go to my search bars and all you see is shoes and gym videos and sports betting advice, you know I'm getting a little off base. You know what I'm valuing. You know what I'm prioritizing, right? But if we go to my search bars during a season and we see messages and celebrity pastors and church and Bible info videos, right, then we know what I'm prioritizing. And so tonight, I want to help you out. I'm your friend. If you know what I'm talking about here, like I care about you guys. I promise you, I learned this lesson the hard way tonight. And every single time that I go through a rough season, I can promise you my priorities are not in the order that they should be. And every time I go through a good season, I can look at that season and be like, man, my priorities were lining up exactly as they should have. Right? And so I made myself an open book here tonight for you. I made you a list, 1 through 10 on the front of that sheet, right? And so this is my priority list. I'm just going to go over mine, and then I'll kind of try to help you make yours a little bit as well here tonight. This is what I would like them to be for 2024, right? I can't necessarily say they're maybe all in this order right this second, but seeing this and looking at this over and over again, it helps me to know where my priorities should be, right? And so first, number one, God's got to be first. We could try to put him second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th, 7th. I've had him at 10th before because I'm busy. This is all good stuff I'm doing, right? I'm just helping people or doing stuff for my family. I've paid the price over and over again for not sticking God in that first place spot. We'll unpack that more here later. And so first has got to be God. God's always got to be first. Second, myself. I got to take care of myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. I got to focus on my sobriety, right? Because if I'm not any good, there's no way I could be good for anybody else. We're going to unpack that here in a little while. So 3 has got to be Bonnie, my lovely wife. I'm glad she's here tonight, right? 3 has got to be my wife. I don't like to have a bad marriage. I've been in a season of having a bad marriage. It's not that fun, I rest assure you. So about a year and a half ago, I said enough's enough. Just like similar to sobriety, I'm tired of the same thing happening over and over again. I want this to be different. And our marriage, I could definitely say, is the best that it's ever been. I hope she agrees with me. 4 is our children, right? Our children, we're raising the next generation here. God, those of you that have children, God blessed you with an amazing gift, an amazing responsibility, right? And we got to be there to nurture them and help them and point them in the right direction. Because guess what? If we don't, the world's going to. So we have to step into that role. Next for me is we got multiple things going. Hand up to victory. Very important. Organization helps out a lot of people. High on Jesus. I added one differently here this year. So put my mom and my dad in number 7. So a friend of mine is joke around with. He sees his mom like 4 times a week. I see my mom like once a month at absolute best. I could probably go a few months without seeing her. And so finally I was like, all right, like I'm not getting any younger. Neither are they. Like I got to write this here because I need to make my mom and dad a priority. I need to see them. I need to reach out to them more. And he'll keep me in check about that. 8, friendships, relationships, right? That's important. We all need friendships. We all need relationships, whether that's, just friends or it's mentors, whatever that looks like. It's very important. 9, other sources of income, doing things on the side to help my family. And then 10, fun things, whatever that looks like, hobbies, different things. If I keep all those in that order, I know I'm going to have the best season ever. Life's going to go phenomenal, right? And when I start mismatching all those different things and putting stuff here and Bonnie and God at the bottom and all that, life does not go well for me, right? And so I gave you a sheet there with the first 2 I wrote them in there for you because that's what we're going to talk about tonight, because I believe that these two are the most important pieces of this, right? And so I believe all of our first priorities needs to be God, right? And I believe all of our second priorities needs to be ourselves. We'll go into that more. And then number 3, and from there on out, that's between you and God, right? That's between you and God. You could be sitting there single with no kids, so your spouse and your children aren't on that list, and it's something else there. Maybe your career can be next, or maybe it's a loved one or a family member, somebody that relies on you, that you care about. Whatever that is, I encourage you to take some time to think about this list. Some people have pets. Some people are going to school, right? Some people have a leadership role at the house that they live in. We could go on and on with the different scenarios, things that you could write there. But somehow, if we have important things that need our time and attention, we got to put them in the right order. And so I encourage you to use God. Ask God, what should my priorities be? What's the order that I should be putting them on here? And have this list to be able to look at.